Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll-free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. I want to welcome you to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic every Saturday. Just mark your calendars. From 10 till noon Eastern Time. 10 till noon Eastern Time. Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Just consider me your personal car consultant. I'm here. Don't have all the answers, but I will share with you information that'll really mainly empower you. I'll give you buzzwords so that when you have to take your car into a service shop, you know the right question to ask. Like visiting a doctor. Isn't it something that when you leave there, you say, oh, I wish I'd asked this question. So those are the kind of answers and questions and items that we address right here on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. So coming up, your calls at 888-227-2546. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Royal Purple, my choice for all synthetic lubricants and oils, including, and this is really a cool product, Royal Flush, which cleans out your cooling system, and then you follow the Royal Flush cleaner with Purple Ice, which lowers the temperature, the operating temperature in your cooling system. Max Clean is a fantastic fuel cleaner from Royal Purple every 5,000 miles. And the latest, greatest HMX. It's high mileage oil. So if you've got 75,000 plus, there's a special oil from Royal Purple Synthetic designed for your vehicle, and I'm here for your calls when I come back. This Tire Maintenance Minute is brought to you by General Tire. Anywhere is possible with a grabber line of light truck tires born from competition. Thoughts of nitrogen probably take you back to high school chemistry. But did you know nitrogen-filled tires offer benefits their air-filled counterparts can't? Nitrogen-filled tires maintain a more constant pressure, as pure nitrogen is not as affected by ambient air temperature swings as is the mixed gas air we usually pump in tires. Constant pressure means better handling, less tire wear, and increased fuel economy. Additionally, since nitrogen suspends less moisture, the internally exposed part of your wheel is less susceptible to corrosion. Drawbacks? Not every repair shop has nitrogen. Another consideration is price. While air is free, nitrogen typically costs between $3 and $10 per tire. Drive to GeneralTire.com to learn more about the Grabber line of light truck tires. Anywhere is possible with Grabber. And for more details, visit GeneralTire.com. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Fact or Friction. Brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance lubricants that outperform. Fact or friction. Heat caused by radiator surface tension can be damaging. Fact. Water's natural surface tension causes a disconnect between the coolant and the radiator surface. Think boundary layer. In effect, this boundary layer reduces the radiator's available area to transfer heat to air flowing across radiator fins. A radiator additive can serve as a wetting agent, which smooths water flow and reduces surface tension, thereby lowering engine temperature. When choosing a radiator additive for your vehicle, consider Purple Ice. Purple Ice, compatible with all coolants, is not only a wetting agent, but also a corrosion inhibitor. Add Purple Ice to your radiator every time the cooling system is flushed. Visit RoyalPurple.com for all the Purple Ice advantages. Then pick up your Purple Ice today at Pep Boys.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Geico Auto Insurance customers are frugal people. They value a dollar, and they save a lot of them by switching. To prove my point, I'm joined by a real live customer, Erica Willis. Erica, will you give me $10,000?
No.
There. Proof that Geico customers do not like to part with any more money than they have to. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. You could keep 15% or more of your money. 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
Home. It's the place you like to make warm and inviting. What could be more welcoming than the aroma of fresh coffee brewing? When a coffee is Starbucks, the experience only gets richer. You'll find Starbucks coffee at your grocery store so you can enjoy it at home. Its distinctive roasting style and rich, authentic taste show how seriously we pursue the art of coffee. Savor its aroma, then pour a cup and invite your senses to take flight. Starbucks coffee at your grocery store.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this hour's broadcast. I have a couple of things that I really want to share that if I don't get right into those, I may forget, or just our calls, our conversations, they don't get in the way. They never get in the way, but that's really what I'm here for, is to answer your questions. So feel free to dial us up. Kim will take your calls and put you in a queue at 888-227-2546. That's 888 Car Clinic, and put you in a queue, and I will put you on the air. And I see that Mary is calling, and we'll take her call. But first, I mentioned earlier in today's broadcast that a rusty car sold for $1.9 million. And I'll just give you an overview. Not long ago, there was a story of some 60-odd classic cars that had been hoarded over decades by a French collector in the biggest barn find of the century. Now, those cars have been sold at the auction in Paris, France, and the bidding was dispirited, to say the least. But the bottom line, this one car found a home for a whopping $1.9 million. And you should see the car. I've got a picture of it in front of me. It looks as though it's been rear-ended because the back of the car is sags. And if you took a car and buried it in mud and then lifted it out and the mud fell off for the most part, but you didn't wash it, it looks like that. And you can see that it has some shape of reminds me of kind of a Jag, but it was a 1949 Talbot Lago T26 Grand Sport SWB. I guess that's short wheelbase. And this was a French sports car rebodied by a custom chassis maker. And the Suchik family only built 4 bodies like this one and used this one to advertise their talents at auto shows around Europe. The bottom line, this wasn't the most expensive car that they at the Ballion auction, but that order went to a 61 Ferrari, which brought $18.5 million. But this rusted car that I'm sure it would take at least $1 million to restore, because, again, you say, well, how could you restore a car that's rusted or damaged or what have you? The industry can restore any automobile and it have a value. I'm not saying that it would bring as much money as it costs to restore it, but that would be the case for the professional to decide, so long as it had the VIN number. It had a stamp plate, the original plate, so that was the birth certificate and the validity of that particular piece, of that particular car. So this car brought $1.9 million. And if you want more information, just Google Talbot Lago, Lago Grand Sport, or rusty car that sold for $1.9 million, and you'll come up with that. Let's take a call from Mary. Mary, thank you so much for holding. I wanted to share that bit of information with everyone. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a 2004 Crown Victoria.
Okay.
And in November, I was taking a road trip, and my lights, I thought it was my eyes going out on me, but my lights got so dim that I couldn't see. So I pulled off on the side of the road, and they were just barely burning. And I tried to put them on bright to, maybe I could see to get somewhere back.
Right.
To get some help. But they wouldn't do that. But if I held the arm up,
right,
they would burn on bright. And so I stopped at a auto parts store, and they checked everything, and they couldn't find out what it was. So I called my son, and he is a manager of a shop, and he said it sounded like the light control modular. So I had to spend the night in this town and get the next morning, go to my son's shop, and he finds out that that's what it is, but it's going to cost $400 for the part.
Right.
So he said he could get one at a auto parts store for $100. Well, he did that and put it on. Well, lo and behold, when I left there and it was getting dark, they started going out. They would go off every 10 minutes. And I could flip the switch and get them to burn, and every 10 minutes it does this. Do you know anything about this? Do you have any suggestions? I have gone to the Ford place where I live here in Arkansas, and they said they're having problems getting this manufactured. And this was in November, and he said that already he had one on order for 2.5 months for another car.
Well, there are a couple of controls. Your son talked about and replaced a module, and a module is a light controller. And without getting too technical, just to share this with you, the way cars are designed today, there are at least 25 modules per vehicle, and sometimes more. In fact, 10 years ago, there was 1 million lines of code in the computer world. In a car today, there are 100 million lines of code. And that is a technical answer for you. It's not an answer, just a bit of information. But here's my question. Number one, I assume that the car cranks and runs and the battery is up to par. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Therefore, we have to look at the light system and what feeds the light system. Number one, the multi-function switch. Did your son ever mention the multi-function switch? And let me tell you what that is. That's that stalk where you pull up for the high-low beams. That it's a turn signal arm, it's the windshield wiper washer arm, and it's the high beam, low beam arm. That one switch controls the current flow to the headlights, and it's called a multi-function switch. If that unit is bad, then then no matter what you do, see, when you pull back on the stick to make the lights go to bright versus pushing down or clicking the switch, you're bypassing the headlight control, and you're going into a momentary flash. Because even when the headlights are off and a car is passing you, and maybe you see a danger sign, you want to flash your headlights, you can do that with the turn signal stalk and just pull it back. That's typical of all cars, and that is called a multi-function switch, and those are a dime a dozen. Well, they're not a dime a dozen, but they're certainly not $400, and you can buy those at any store, including O'Reilly Auto Parts. Having said that, if yours is a module, which I seriously doubt that it is, but if it is, that module is available, and if push comes to shove, you've got an 04 Crown Victoria, I'll bet you that from 2000 through 2009, and I'm just pulling those figures out of my head, that the same parts would fit a lot of different models of Grand Marquis or Crown Victoria Fords. So you have options. And what your option first is, you need to, there in Arkansas, you need to find a shop that knows exactly what the problem is, and then if you can't get that part, which you sort of already said that you can't, then you go to a recycling yard and buy one from the recycling yard, and chances are it may be good. I don't recommend electronic parts purchasing from recycling yards, except I never say never. And in your case, I certainly would, because you need to do something. You can't wait 2.5 months on a part. So that's what I would do. Your questions of me.
I suggested that to the Ford place.
I don't want to do that.
No. And he said if there are any cars out there in the yard, you can bet that they're already stripped, because there are a lot of cars that are having this same problem.
Well, okay, all right, I agree, and as I said, I'm with you, Mary. But here's what I disagree with. The recycling company, and you can do this from the luxury of your home. You call a local recycling, and you can call your local shop and say, who's a recycler here in town? We used to call them junkyards, okay? And so you call the recycler and say, I've got an 04 Crown Vic, and I need this. Make sure you know what box you need. would you cross it over and tell me how many different lines of cars it works? Because you've got all the Mercurys, all the Fords, from whatever year to whatever year that box would be interchangeable. It's not the best way to go about repairing your car, but in your case, you can't drive a car at night. That is unacceptable. So it's inappropriate and not safe. So I say to you, find a used part. If it doesn't work, get another one. If that doesn't work, then get your money back. But at least you've got to take an action. You can't use what you have. It's not safe.
Well, these parts, now Ford knows that there are a lot of these having problems.
Okay.
And they said that they're just not being able to get them manufactured.
Well, go get a second opinion. Well, you just did. I just shared with you what your action should be. And when I come back, I'll share more information, folks. Don't touch that dial. Don't let old man winter keep you indoors this season. Let General's Ultimax Arctic make anywhere possible, no matter the weather. The Ultimax Arctic features unique grooves and sipes, maximizing snow, ice, and wet traction in all directions. While its modern compound offers outstanding performance in low temperatures, it's the perfect tire to get you where you need to go this winter. Tweet us photos of your winter adventures at General Tire. Hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
My car's a sauna. What's with this air conditioning?
You need an AC Pro.
Know any?
Yeah, you.
You got me confused with somebody else.
You're a pro with new do-it-yourself AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
But
You know where to find the hood?
That thing up front?
Exactly. AC Pro's easy, fast, and saves you money. You'll have your car's AC blowing cold air in minutes.
I did it. It's like a freezer in here.
Be a pro with new AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
Got a sweater?
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Engine Care Spotlight, brought to you by CRC Industries. Black may be a fashionable color for clothes, but not for your engine's intake valves. Today's gasoline direct injection, GDI, engines increase fuel economy and power by spraying fuel directly into the combustion chamber. But GDI can cause black carbon buildup on engine valves when oil seeps past intake valve guide seals, then sticks, burns, and forms heavy carbon deposits. The result is often restricted airflow, poor vehicle performance, and even drivability issues. Pour-in fuel tank additives can't reach the backs of carboned-up valves, but you can reach them with a new patent-pending CRC intake valve cleaner. CRC intake valve cleaner is delivered through the air intake system to effectively dissolve carbon deposits for improved MPG, increased power, and smoother idle. Keep the color black in your closet and off your intake valves with CRC intake valve cleaner. Find more automotive maintenance solutions at crcindustries.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Live from Progressive. Flo here. Today we're talking to newlyweds.
Hi, my husband and I are combining our policies, and my mother-in-law says we can save with Progressive.
Well, with online, homeowners, and multi-car discounts, saving on car insurance is easy.
So you're saying she's right?
I'm saying get used to it.
Get great savings and more at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Mayfield Village, Ohio. Discounts not available in all states. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Mikey steals the tissue. He breaks right. Now left. Clock says 3 a.m. He shoots the tissue and, off the lamp and into the basket.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
Go to sleep.
Uh-oh. There's a heckler in the crowd.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic, brought to you in part by General Tire. Anywhere is possible with a grabber line of light truck tires born from competition. Visit generaltire.com for all the details. You know, folks, what's really cool about cold weather and tires, no pun intended, is the fact that tire pressure is for the most part, when we check our customers' tires, they're always low. I don't know. In fact, whenever we check a tire in one of our customers' cars and all four tires are right on, the technician immediately, if the owner is in the customer center waiting on the car, and sometimes they are, we immediately walk up and say, when's the last time you checked your tires? Because we know better. We know that that's just not possible. And as a rule, that person would say, oh, I'm religious about I check my own tires. And I don't know how many of 10 customers, I won't hazard a guess, I'll say maybe 1 out of 20. That's just a guess, that check their tires. But those particular cars get better gas mileage because the rolling resistance and better tire wear and all those sorts of things. Speaking of gas mileage, here's the gas prices that I want to share with you this week. This is the weekly U.S. retail gasoline prices, regular grade, dollars per gallon, including all local, state, federal taxes, okay? A year ago, we're down from same time a year ago. The average is $2.06.8 per gallon, national average. Now, I mentioned last week that we were at a tipping point. And indeed, we are at a tipping point because on the Gulf Coast and in the Midwest, the price of gas is higher than it was a week ago. So our year-to-date gas prices are still falling or are still less than they were a year ago, but our weekly prices are coming back up in 2 regions. The highest cost of gas was on the West Coast, $2.33. The lowest, $1.86 on the Gulf Coast, and yet that is still higher than it was this time last week. So we're going to see that tipping point, just for you to know. You're going to see crude prices start to increase and climb, and so you want to watch for those sorts of things. I want to reach out to Car Clinic affiliate in Anderson, South Carolina, WAIM 1230 AM, Rick Driver and Mac Heaton, General Manager and Program Director. If you've tuned in there in Anderson, South Carolina to WAIM 1230 AM, let us hear from you. Kim will take your call at 888 Car Clinic, put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. We'll talk to Dane, who is now on the air. Dane, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
Well, I got a 2005 Chevy Tahoe, and I'm not sure if this is related or not, but I got in a small accident where it just cracked my plastic grill on it, and I had it replaced, and so I paid the deductible to have that done. But ever since then, the car occasionally won't crank, won't turn over. Now, they've checked the battery, they've checked the starter, the ignition switch, and everything checks out fine. They've checked out the control module, and everything's fine, and they can't find the problem with it. And I've even taken it to one of the local Chevy dealerships here in Pensacola, and they can't find it. There's no code being read on it, and I'm wondering if you have any input on it.
Well, let me ask you a question. When you say it won't crank, of course, folks, just for you to know, because Dane knows, when an engine doesn't crank, it means when you turn the key to the start mode, the starter doesn't go rrr. When an engine doesn't start, it means that it cranks, it just refuses to light off. So you're telling me that when you turn the key to the crank mode, you get nothing.
Nothing whatsoever.
Nothing, not even a hint of a click or anything.
Nothing whatsoever.
I believe it to be in the security. Do you have another set of keys?
I do, and I've had them check the security system at the local Chevy dealership, and they cannot find anything, any codes being read out on the security system.
Okay, time out. You have another set of keys.
I do.
I want you to use the key that you're using until this vehicle fails. Then I want you carrying that extra set of keys with you, which you may or may not do as a rule, to take the key out that doesn't work and try the other key at that time of failure. Have you done that? Have you done that?
No, I have not.
Voila. At least, that's some degree of a test. Now, here's the acid test, and this will really be a coup if this works. But you can, then I'll be your hero. Let's carry the extra key with us. You run the vehicle or start the vehicle until you get in this predicament where it doesn't work. You take that key out and you put the other key in and see if it will start the automobile. if it does, turn it off and put the other key back in and see if it will start the vehicle. Now, chances are, once you get the security in from the other key and you get that black box in the mode, it may accept that other key, even though the signal may be weak in that other key. You get where I'm going here?
I do, but I didn't think that the key had a chip in it or something to identify itself with the motor.
It does.
I'll be darned. I didn't know that.
So it's well, you know, my car, I don't even use a key. I can keep the key fob in my pocket as long as I'm near the car. And there are sensors around the car. I can walk up to the locked car and push the trunk release button with my finger with the key fob in my pocket, and my trunk will open. And then I can push the button to have it closed inside the trunk and walk away, and the trunk will, if the car's locked, and the trunk will relock itself. That's the way the technology allows us to do those sorts of things. I can walk up to any rear door and also unlock it. But if you were on the other side of the car, even if I was standing on this side of the car and you tried to open the door, it would not unlock because it's a close proximity type of an RF, of a connection. But the bottom line, you need to try that because you could spend a lot of money, a lot of time, and then probably the dealer's already shared with you is that if there's no codes, you know, there's no roadmap, there's no records of failure. All they can start to do is just spend dollars and time, or time and dollars equal the same thing, trying to chasing rabbits, and they don't want to do that. I applaud them for not doing that. You know, they're being straight with you, but you need to try a different set of keys. One question: you use the key fob to unlock the car?
Yes, I do.
And that always works?
Yes, it does.
Okay, all right. Well, try another set of keys and let me know if that works. If it doesn't, we'll take step 2.
Well, you've changed my whole plan for the day because I was going to go trade this vehicle in today for a different vehicle, but I think I'll try what you're telling me before I do that now.
What would you buy? Just out of curiosity, you've got an 05 Chevy Tahoe. That's a big vehicle. Where are you headed and why?
Well, I'm thinking about a Tundra because I need a pickup for the kind of work that I do, so I was looking at a Toyota Tundra.
Okay. Well, let me tell you this. I have a customer who drives a Toyota Tundra. Has 300,000 miles on it. And to my standards, when it drives in the door, I cannot believe that it looks like it's got 30,000 miles on it. And we've serviced it since new. And I will tell you, it is a fantastic vehicle. The only problem that vehicle had was recently at 299,000 miles, the transmission had a failure. And it was minor, but we had to replace the transmission. But I will tell you, it is a whale of a vehicle, and the Tundra is just a great vehicle. I love the way under the hood it's all well put together. And I've driven this particular automobile, and it is a work truck. Although I don't know that he hauls, you know, like lawnmowers or tools or what have you. He's in the home building business, but work for him is a lot of miles. But that's a good vehicle. It's a good choice. You want to make sure that if you're going to buy a new vehicle, in my opinion, you're not asking for my opinion, but you called my show, so I'm going to give it to you anyway. You want to make sure that if you buy a new vehicle, and you're buying a 2015, you want to make sure that new vehicle is not going to be replaced in 2016 because, of course, this is only in February, but let's just say this was August, and you bought a 2015 car. In September, your car would be a year old. So you take delivery of a new car, and in 1 month, you got a car that's a year old. So I'm always for buying a vehicle in the early part of the last part of a year, in the early part of the new car's new body style, if they change the body style. That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's just it's one of my quirks, but I'll tell you what, it works for me, and it makes a difference because I've seen Mercedes for so many years that would keep a body style for 7 years or 6 years, and then that last year you finally buy a brand new Mercedes. They change the body style. Now you've got one that, for all intents and purposes, looks the same as the 7-year-old car.
Right.
I like new design.
I appreciate your opinion on everything. You got a shop here in town, and I think I'll start frequenting that because I sure have a lot of confidence in your
Well,
opinion.
I thank you for that. I appreciate your confidence, and we have listeners from across the nation, across the globe, but always great to hear from some hometown guy. Let me know if we can help you, and I appreciate your confidence in me. It's much appreciated, Dane. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you. Well, see, that's what drives me. I mean, it's great to be able to help folks like that. So if you have a car question, dial us up. Kim will take your call at 888 Car Clinic and put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. Gas prices I shared with you. Let's see what else. New sweepstakes. Yes. Bobby Springs for free fuel ups. Free fuel ups, okay? In other words, a $500 gas card or a royal purple leather lambskin jacket or a chance to win a $250 Visa card, compliments and courtesy of the Renewable Fuels Association, the ethanol folks, is easy for you to log on to Car Clinic Sweepstakes.com. And you got to answer a question to get your name in the hat. And there are more than one question. And if you answer more than one question, your name goes in the hat more times. And just for you to know, this is like our 13th series over the years, and all 13 previous winners have answered more than one question. So I would encourage you to answer what questions are there. They're really simple to do. So you go to carclinicsweepstakes.com and enter the new Bobby Springs for free fuel ups. And you may be a lucky winner. The rules are online. Always be sure as well to check out our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, and Instagram for awesome contests and giveaways. More when I come back. Bobby Likis Car Clinic. See you on the other side of the break. You're moving fast, and you don't want anything to slow you down, especially an unreliable battery. Be sure the next time your car needs a new battery, you choose one with PowerFrame grid technology. It's not only 66% more durable than other grid designs, it's manufactured with the latest, most sustainable processes. Look for PowerFrame on the outside for true strength on the inside. To find a retailer near you, visit PowerFrame.com. That's PowerFrame.com. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. Lime green and orange, not fashion shades, the color of car fluids on garage floors. Lime green says radiator coolant. Orange hints leaking transmission fluid. Catch these fluids on a newspaper and show them to your technician. This Drive Smarter tip is brought to you by Escort. Check out Escort's Drive into Summer event going on now through July 18. Don't just drive, drive smarter. Escort.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another great place to use Visa.
Is there anything more satisfying than watching a snowflake fall, gently carried by a delicate breeze to the welcoming earth, and then thrashing it on a ripping snowmobile? If you want to have fun in the snow, make tracks to Unicorn Expeditions in Lake Parlin, Maine, where the cabins are as cozy as the trails are smooth. But if you want to buzz the powder, you better bring your Visa card, because at Unicorn Expeditions, they take kindly to sled heads, but they don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
So, how about you and I getting together?
I don't know. I have to get up early.
Ma, I'm on the phone!
Oh, sorry, dear.
You live at home?
Looking for a home? Click on to Realtor.com and search over 1.3 million current home listings. Plus, you can find useful information on schools, financing, even take virtual tours. And when you're ready, you can click and connect with a realtor.
Hello? Are you still there?
Yes, dear, I'm right here.
Realtor.com. It's the place to start when you start looking for a home.
Hello once again, and welcome to How Stupid Can You Be? The show where folks tell us all about the outrageously stupid things they've done. Please join me in welcoming today's guest, Sarah. Now, Sarah, you're 23 years old, and you recently did something really stupid, didn't you?
Yes, I bought alcohol for my younger brother and his friends.
Wow, she bought alcohol for minors. That's one of the stupidest things anyone could ever do. Am I right, audience?
Of course I got caught, arrested, charged with a felony, and I could get up to 6 months in jail.
You tried to buy alcohol for minors and all you got was trouble. That's all for now, folks. Coming up next, a man who performed his own root canal at home. How stupid is that?
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. Underage drinking. It's arresting behavior.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Delighted to have you join me today, and just tick your calendars every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time on your local AM and or FM radio stations. We're going on our 24th year, as memory serves me. I've answered more than 100,000 car questions live on air, and plus today's. so yours coming up, it'll be 100,000 plus. So here we go. I have some information that I wanted to share with you, but the phones are pretty busy. I don't want you to wait, but I have some reports that I'm not going to go into, but I'll just tell you what they are. There's a list of cars that are the greenest, the greener, and the meanest. And they're a list of automobiles, and let's see what the parameters are. The listings with 2 emission standards denote that the vehicle carries both California and EPA certification, and green scores for such listings reflect the cleaner of the 2 certifications, CNG, compressed natural gas, and CVT, continuously variable transmission. Electric vehicle mileage is measured in miles per kilowatt hours. Vehicle models can have several versions, resulting in different green scores. So these are the greenest, the greener, which I guess is not so green, and then the meanest, which obviously are not green at all. So I'll get into those if we have time, but as a courtesy, we're going to go to Mike first. And Mike, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby. Hey, listen, you always have a great show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, my daughter's got a 07 Acura MDX. She's had a problem where the battery runs down overnight. Getting online, it looks like there's been a number of people who have had some problems with that. It may also occur in some Hondas, too. And it turns out that the HFL module, which controls the Bluetooth, the hands-free, and perhaps the garage door opener, for some reason or other, there's a difficulty in that module, and it keeps a component energized and a battery drain. And looking at this, I have run across on the forum a procedure to take this thing out. It's in the little center console, back of the center console. You undo it, unplug it, take the plastic case off of it, set this module in a pan with aluminum foil in there, and then rest the little printed board on a few little risers, some little balls that you make out of tinfoil. Set it in the oven that's at 385 degrees for 8 minutes. Pull it out, and there's this discussion talks about repairing printed circuit boards for computers. And doggone if this guy didn't try it, and he said his has not failed since. And it talks about all of these little circuits and things and little minute cracks that can occur on a circuit board. And this just resolders everything.
Well, 380 degrees is not going to resolder anything. That's just, here's the bottom line. Number one, I don't believe that. I don't believe, you can't believe everything you read online. And it has been my experience that when you have a module that's a problem in a vehicle, you best replace that with a new module. It's also been my experience that when you replace a module with a replacement module, there, as a rule, there's another suffix on that part number. So if you got a part number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 X, X, the next one's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 Y, because as they make these modules, but you have to match the right numbers. So if it were me, I mean, I understand what they're talking about, and I've also dried out components. I had a leaking watch one time that got moisture under the crystal, and I didn't have time to clean it, so I put it in an oven at 210 degrees, and sure enough, it dried it out. But I was afraid to go any hotter, but I know that 200, 250 is okay because you can have dash temperatures like that. The 300 degree, and I have a sort of a aversion to trying that, because here's the bottom line. What if that component had a bad plug, or the plug-in where it's plugged into the car was the problem, so you took it out and you held it over your head and said hocus pocus and put it back in, would you put that online? The bottom line, yeah, we've actually done that, not said hocus pocus, but we've actually disconnected components during tests, and at the end of the test the car fixed, and we didn't know what we did to fix the car. So
I can understand it. There's some people that say, well, they pulled it out, put it back in again, and just that little movement.
Exactly.
And again, it could be in the connection, or it could be a little flexing of minute flexing in the circuit board that causes the connection back again.
Sure. So I think there are ways to test that, and of course those ways are very sophisticated and they cost dollars, so I understand that. But before I would unplug what could be a perfectly good unit and put it in the oven, and besides, at what starting point? Do you bring the oven up to a certain fixed temperature, and do you take a module that is room temperature, or is it outside temperature? Because and especially when you're talking about 8 minutes, I mean, really, that doesn't work for me. So well,
anyway, if the module doesn't work and you're going to have to get a new one, and you do this and it seems to work for 6 months, why, you saved yourself $200 for 6 months at least.
I agree, but you have to, in your mind, and we go forward. But Mike, in your mind, and for our listeners, you have to, number one, you got to know that that's the problem, and number two, you got to know that if it doesn't work, you're not out anything because you've tried something, and so I'm not saying don't try it. I'm just saying don't believe everything that you read online, because we're in the business and we still have problems even reprogramming new modules, because if you take a new module and replace it with a new one, the car says, where'd you come from?
Yep. I understand.
Hey, man, thanks.
Just anyway, it sounded like there may be some thing, because it came from somebody that's repairing a computer circuit board. So I just thought that it might apply in this situation.
It might. Hey, thanks for your information. I appreciate your call as always.
You bet. And I will print out this thing and I'll just drop it by. You can take a look at it.
Sounds great. Appreciate that.
Bye.
Take a call from Arkansas. Stephen, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
For your show. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I have a 2010 F-150 four-wheel drive 5.4 Triton, and having a front disc brake problem, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting dragging on the front left brake.
Okay.
So I've replaced the rotors, pads, and the calipers, or the caliper on the left side, and both brake lines. Yet, when I get out of the truck, I can smell that brake burning more than, the other one. There's absence of odor, and if I put water on it, it'll sizzle, just squirt a little bit. It'll sizzle on the left.
Wow.
And I can touch the right. And wondering, how the heck am I getting asymmetrical braking on that side when all the parts have been changed? Wondered if you had any thoughts on what's going on there.
Well, what we want to know, and I'd have to look at the diagram for the brake pressure. Sometimes manufacturers do right front, left rear, left front, right rear in their applications, so that you could have a particular line that would independently. I mean, for instance, if you had a brake hose, and you mentioned you replaced the hose, so you did the right thing there. The brake hose could be restricted on that side, but you've replaced the hose, so that eliminates that possibility. And the chances of getting a bad new brake hose, I've never seen one in my 43 years in the business.
Right.
So that's just not even, don't even go there.
Just replace the hose, not the rigid line. It's just
the flex hose, right? That's what I'm talking. Okay, so that leads me back to a potential culprit. That is, which device on the car can independently select one wheel, the ABS module.
Okay.
So for you who've replaced pads, rotors, caliper, and flex brake line for a particular front wheel that still gives problems, given that they were installed correctly, for me, I'd like to. We always use new brake hardware when we put pads on a car, and I won't go into all that in the interest of time, but just to say that you could have a problem with the ABS system. Now, how do you know this? And, Stephen, here's how I would diagnose this problem if I were you, the owner. I would trace the brake line for that wheel back to the ABS unit, because that's where it goes. We know it goes there first.
Okay.
And then I would go drive the vehicle to the point that we know that wheel is dragging.
Okay.
That means that we have pressure on the brake line that should not be there, because no other brake line has pressure and your foot's not on the brake.
Right.
So how do we catch it with that pressure? We go to the line either at the wheel, which is hard to get to, or the ABS, which I'm not sure where that module is, but it's probably right there under the hood. And we've already determined which line it is, and using a line wrench, you simply loosen that line a half turn, wiggle it, and then tighten it back up. And I say wiggle it. It won't wiggle much with your half turn, but at least it'll bleed the pressure off. But you don't want any air to get in, so you bleed the pressure, retighten that line. Do not apply the brakes. Go drive the vehicle another 10 miles without touching the brake, and you can do that on the interstate. And then pull over to the side of the road, and it's okay to put the brake one time because it won't heat the pads up, that one shot, and see if by releasing that brake pressure at that module, you've released the pressure that was causing it to overheat. You see where I'm going there?
Yeah. Could I do that on the bleeder valve on the caliper too?
Well, yes, you could, but it seems to me it'd be harder to get underneath the truck to the bleeder valve than it would be to get to under the hood to where that line is easier to get to. Anyway, that's for you. But either way, all you want to do is relieve pressure, and you must have pressure if that caliper is working correctly. There's got to be fluid pressure that's causing that brake to stay energized. So anyway, good call, and let me know how that works for you when you get to the other side.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Stephen. Thank you for your call. 888-227-2546. Michael from New York. Thanks for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby. Long-time listener, and you've always helped me out with my car problem.
Great. Thank you very much. What can I do for you today?
Bobby, I have two 2004 Honda Accords that we bought in 2005 from the Honda dealer. Very good cars. And never had any problems with them. At 200,000 miles, the transmission went on the first Honda. It's a white one. And then on the just 2 months later, the transmission went on the other Honda. And, of course, we had the transmissions replaced. Is this normal that the transmissions would go at this? I've talked to American Honda, and they say it was just coincidence that this happened on.
I agree with American Honda. Absolutely. You just happen to have, it was coincidental because I've had people to call me with 150 or 230,000 miles, and they say, should I have this fluid changed? Oh, by the way, I went to a service shop, and they would not change the fluid because they said, just as sure as we change the fluid, you have a problem. And I said, well, you either change the fluid along the way, or sooner or later, it's going to break. So you can wait for the fate to happen, which it surely will, or you can be proactive and change the fluid. Just a question for you. In either of those cars, Michael, did you have any schedule for changing the fluids in the transmission?
Well, Bobby, until you enlighten me on that, no.
Well, there you go. If you change the fluid every 30,000 miles, I could cover that under a protection plan if you were in my neck of the woods. That wouldn't cost you anything, and it would have $2,000 applied to the repair of the transmission, which is a good number. But I said all that to say that if the company that supplies the protection plan for me can give me, for my customers, $2,000 unquestioned, as long as I change the fluid in their transmission, it's a no-brainer that the only way they can do that is they don't have many claims, because I don't pay for that. I don't pay for that, neither does the customer. So there's no question that changing out the blood of a vehicle from bumper to bumper adds life to the vehicle. We've seen it, we know it, and it's a fact. Hey, got to go. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
I see that we have Randy on the line. Randy, I'm sorry I won't be able to get you in today's broadcast, so please call earlier next week, 10 till noon Eastern Time. Greenest, greener, and meanest. Just a quick overview. Here, these are the greenest cars. These vehicles score the highest in greenercars.org's ratings this year. And you can visit the site for more information. That's greenercars.org. Number one on the list, blew my mind, Smart. A smart car for two, electric drive, the convertible, or a coupe. Number two, Chevrolet Spark EV. 3, Fiat 500e. 4, Toyota Prius C. Nissan Leaf, Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. Number 7, Lexus CT200H. 8, Honda, and so it goes on, Honda, Mitsubishi. Ford is number 11, and VW is number 12. That's the greenest list. And for you and that information, go to greenercars.org just to see where other cars, even a Rolls Royce there. And I'll see you next week, same time, same station. Like us, you'll love us.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Improving ethanol production efficiencies in concert with new farming technologies means the energy benefits of ethanol continue to grow. In recent research, the U.S. Department of Agriculture determined ethanol's energy balance to be 1.7 to 2.3. That's to say, today's ethanol production yields nearly twice as much energy as it took to create the gallon. Also, ethanol's chemical composition means a more complete, cleaner burn of fuel in vehicle engines. Increasing ethanol use in gasoline is directly leading to cleaner air and fewer toxic tailpipe emissions. In 2011, ethanol use reduced tailpipe CO2 equivalent emissions by 25.3 metric tons, equivalent to the emissions of 4 million vehicles. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Driving a cab in this town can drive you nuts. It's like hurry up and wait. Last week, I'm stuck behind a bus on Broadway when that pastrami on ride catches up with me. Ooh, heartburn big time. Guy in the back seat says, "Here, take a Zantac 75. I say, "What are you, a doctor?" And he says, "Yeah."
Zantac 75 relieves heartburn anywhere, anytime.
A real gentleman, that doctor.
Zantac 75, the heartburn relief doctors trust.
Sweetie, this wedding reception will need an elegant dessert.
What do you think about the caramel flan?
Darling, I think it'd be perfect, but please, dear, it's caramel flan.
Mother, I really think it's caramel.
It's caramel.
A lot of people call it caramel.
Yes, if you keep a sofa on your porch like your fiancé. We might as well serve kamikaze shots.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
That makes a Milky Way great.